Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. And today we have with us Tom Stefaniak, who is a certified financial planner and president of Pinnacle Wealth Management. Tom, welcome to the program.
Outstanding. I'm actually looking forward to this conversation today.
Yeah, I always love talking with people because not from all lines of work, but especially in financial services, because I just know that people go, oh yeah, I'll get around to that, or someday I'll, and it just either never comes or just creeps up on them so fast when you're talking about wealth and management and finances and money and retirement. So looking forward to learning from you, but give us a little bit of background on your entrepreneurial journey. What led you to start your firm?
I've been doing this for quite a while, over 30 years, been helping individuals and families and small businesses, just helping them understand where they are financially and what goals they're working toward and what they want to accomplish in life. So I've been doing this for quite a while. It's kind of my passion in helping people achieve goals, at least work toward the goals they want to hit in life, be it educating their kids, retirement, paying off their mortgage, all of those type of items. So excited to have the conversation with you today.
Yeah. What do you find when you're working with people when they come to you for the first time? What is it that they're most focused on? Because you can think about, I need to plan for a kid's college, or I need to think about my retirement. I need to think about Social Security. What is the prevalent topic that you're helping them with initially?
It's those life events that come along. Right, Mike? Yeah. You go through life and you just kind of go along and you go from day to day, to week, to month, year to year, and so forth. And then these big life events come along. And that's when they realized, oh, wow, this is kind of big. What should I be doing when these big life events come along? And the most prevalent one, obviously, we talk to people about retirement.
Yeah.
People in their 50s are kind of realizing I've been going along for quite a few years, if not decades. And then, you know what? Retirement thing's coming up pretty quick. And they have to kind of do some planning and say, okay, what do I need to be doing to make this retirement thing actually happen?
Well, I think we could talk for about another 4.5 hours on the phrase, boy, it's coming up really quick because time just flies. And you talk to people about, the older you get, the faster time goes. And that's just indicative of, I feel, how busy we allow our lives to get. So I think we need to find the pauses in life and take time to smell the roses and make sure we're structuring in time for the important things, because we never want to get to that end time of retirement or end of life or whatever and look back and go, man, I wish I had. Because the old saying, it's nobody ever is on their deathbed going, I wish I'd worked more. No, you're always going, I wish I'd spent more time with. So when you're working with a new client or family and this topic of, now's the time will just fly. What are you helping them understand as far as making some of those plans?
Mike, it's interesting. And obviously, we ask all the math questions, right?
Yeah.
Assets, liabilities, income, expenses, how much do you have and how much you saved and how much debt do you have. But, that's just the numbers. I think the bigger question to ask, especially if you're getting close to retirement, is how are you going to reinvent yourself?
Yeah.
And right or wrong here in the United States, people get defined by job titles. I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm a teacher, I'm a firefighter, whatever it is. And then when you're retired, you no longer have that title. And there's nobody coming to you asking advice on how to fix problems. And people get kind of lost.
That's a good point.
So making that transition to that next stage of life. And when we're talking about retirement in your 60s, we're talking 20, 30, maybe 40 years of retirement. That's probably as long as you worked. So How are you going to reinvent yourself? What are you going to do different? Is it going to be charitable events? Is it going to be finding a new encore career? Is it going to be spending time creating new hobbies or new fun things to do? And how do you fill those 40 or 50 hours a week that you were at work in this new stage of life? So yes, we do all the math to take a look at the finances and take a look at the projections and all that kind of stuff. But it's really important to have that conversation of where are you going to go next in life? And I think that's where some of that anxiety comes up with retirement. It's not, have I saved enough? It's just as important of like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do going forward?
The math is, it's almost like, yeah, the math, we got to make sure that's there, but let's really look at this, and I think that people initially, if they don't think deep enough, they think, hey, I just want to retire and be done with the rat race and go play golf all day or go to the beach all day. And that's all fine and good for about 3 months. But I think many people, and I think research has shown this recently, but many people at some point, get tired of that and go, I'm only whatever age, like my dad is 82 years old and he goes, I'm a 82-year-old in a 40-year-old mind, but my body is 82. I just want to do and get things done. And I think a lot of people are in that same boat where it's like, okay, I want to take a step back and retire, but I want my retirement to look like this. I don't want to get bored. I want to give back and serve. I want to thrive. And maybe I take Mondays and Fridays off totally and work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday half days, but I'm still doing fill in the blank. So you almost become like a life coach kind of a thing, right?
It's a phrase I use all the time, trying to add value every day. And so yes. How many clients that come to us and people we talk with, how many times do they retire? Once, maybe twice in their lifetime? We see this all the time in our practice. So fortunately, we kind of know some questions to ask.
Yes.
And what directions you should be looking at, and maybe opening up some avenues that you never thought about because you've only retired once. We see this all the time. So we kind of know the questions you should be taking a look at and bringing up new ideas that you might not have thought of before. Obviously in the financial planning world, but also in the reinvent your life world.
Yeah. And statistically, people are living longer and longer. You and I happen to both be in the state of Colorado where people are known to be more active and healthy and exercise more. And hopefully, more and more people are doing that in no matter where they live. But no longer is it, oh, well, here I'm retiring on this day at this age. And so my money needs to last me for whatever, 10, 15 years. Nowadays, it's decades past retirement because of the increased lifespan. So what do you do, maybe even some planning things for making plans to maybe fill that gap of making sure they don't outlive their money?
That's the big question, isn't it, Mike?
Yep.
Make sure there's money left at the end of life instead of life at the end of money. That's the big challenge. So obviously we work with our clients in doing a wealth plan, putting that all information together, and obviously doing some projections out in the future. But those are projections, right? We get together with all of our clients every 6 months to take a look at the plan and review it. Are we on track? Are we ahead? Are we behind? What should we do going forward? And every 6 months, life doesn't change very much day to day, but in 6-month increments, things change for our clients. Things change in the economy and the tax code and the investment world. And how do we pivot and move forward going forward that way? So having an ongoing relationship with someone to help you go through that entire process is invaluable, in my opinion.
And I think that a lot of people would feel like, oh, well, I kind of stayed up on the markets or I kind of stayed up on finances. So I think I can do a lot of this myself. But in reality, if you are not, in it, you think of 10,000 hours of focus on one topic to become an expert in whatever that is. And if they don't do that for money and know all the variables and all the things, regulations and taxes and all those things you mentioned, what could be missed? And I think we can fill the blanks with many bullet points of what could be missed. And I think that especially these days when financial professionals aren't necessarily a huge expense, quote unquote, many times it's, and maybe let's ask this question. How are you set up to serve your clients? Is it such that when the client's portfolio grows, you benefit? So there's that fiduciary responsibility in that way. Is that the way you guys are set up?
Absolutely, Mike.
Yeah.
Fiduciary is a big word, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's been used a lot lately. And quickly, fiduciary is required to act in the client's best interest.
Yes.
And if you think about it, that's a pretty high bar.
Yep.
To do that. And we made a decision years and years ago to be a fiduciary. And it was like a very quick question and a quick answer when it came to me, because I thought, if my mom was hired a financial advisor, would I want that financial advisor to always act in her best interest?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be a fiduciary then.
Yep.
That's simple itself. So yes, we were set up with our clients. So as their portfolio grows, we're sitting on the same side of the table. They're happy and we're happy. If it goes down, they're sad and we're sad. So we work with them on the same side of the table to make sure that we're acting in their best interest. And sometimes that is, how do we invest the money? Sometimes it is, should we pay your mortgage off?
Yeah.
Sometimes, how do we do some gifting to take care of some college funding for the kids? So a lot of those questions come up all the time, and people have these questions, but they need a resource, the financial answer guy, to come in and help be a resource for them, to at least give them some direction of what they should be looking at.
And I think one of those aspects, and I'm not in financial services, so I'm on the outside looking in, but it seems to me that one of the things would be, when you know that your financial professional is a fiduciary, you can rest assured that they're not going, boy, here's this product that I can make a massive commission on, and let me polish that up and put some lipstick on that pig and present it. But this other one back here that I'm not going to, that'd kind of be better for them, but I'm going to kind of downplay that because this one I'm going to make a lot more and I need to get that new boat. So isn't that true that there are certain recommendations that someone would be motivated, like a financial professional would be motivated to recommend based on benefit to the advisor, not benefit to the client?
I can't speak to other people. I can speak to myself and our firm that we've been doing for a very long time, is working directly with the people, understanding what their goals are, right?
Yeah.
And what their interest is. And if the goal is to have the mortgage paid off, let's work on getting the mortgage paid off, right?
Yeah.
That's the important thing, because then they can sleep at night.
Yeah.
I think that's for truly understanding what their individual personal goal is, to make sure that their needs are being met. And that's the most important part.
And let's use paying the mortgage off as an example, and let's not get into the weeds of yes, no, or should they, or return, because there's two sides of the equation, and you could probably make a good case for either side. But I will mention to you that there are going to be people. So, and I'll give you an example from my personal story. When I was growing up, I still can remember the day that my sister and I were standing in the front yard looking at the sign in the yard from the auction company when my dad and mom lost our house, and it was getting auctioned off. And so I grow up going, and we had to go move into my grandparents', 1-bedroom, little studio apartment downstairs, and I slept in the workshop. So I distinctly remember that. And I remember growing up, and I don't even know that it was consciously, I must never let this happen to my family, but it was just ingrained in me. Debt is bad. Now you need to have a mortgage. And guess what? I had, back in the day when I bought the house that we're living in now, 20 years ago, we had a $300,000 mortgage. You had to, but man alive, I pounded that mortgage down. And let's just say that there was a case for, don't pay your mortgage, do this with the money. I still would have recounted that story to the financial professional and said, yeah, but for me, it makes me sleep better at night because of that story. And so I think that what you just said is, you know what? I could probably make the case for taking that chunk of money and putting it wherever. But because client, you mentioned, your feeling of, let's do that. And that is being more cautious and careful for the sake of the client than for what looks good on paper.
I couldn't agree with you more, Mike, on that, because, a mortgage is debt, and debt is risk. And, if it wasn't a risk, the banks would charge you interest,
yep.
Right?
Do you know the Latin derivative of the word mortgage?
What's that?
Death grip.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that interesting?
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. I remember that because I spent many, many years in the mortgage business. And I remember that being, it means death grip, death pledge, something to the effect of death, whether it's pledge or grip. And it is because mort is, like mortir in Spanish is death. Who wants to have that death grip on your finances? So there are times that, yes, and just, going deeper on this, because I spent some time in the mortgage business, while it might be the goal to pay that mortgage off, you need to realize that if you're putting larger chunks of money on that mortgage over the course of years, and now you got all this equity, you need to realize that that cash that you put into the mortgage is not accessible, and you got to go out and reborrow it. And what a big long-term. So you better make sure you have some smart financial moves with some liquid access to cash in case, as a plan B. And that is where having that financial professional like yourself would help them, think ahead, talk through. And if that is your goal, let's do it the right way to make sure you are protected and have that safety net too.
You're exactly right, because you have to put it all together, right? Kind of put your financial house in order.
Yeah.
So that how much you have on debt on the house affects all the other parts of your life as well. And just taking a look only at one slice of the pie doesn't give you the whole picture, does it?
Yeah. And you might think you have the full picture because you Googled this or read that, but come on, you if you're not in the business, you're not a certified financial planner like yourself, you just don't know all the ramifications. And it becomes a big domino effect where if you make this choice, all of a sudden, look at all these other things that fall into place, good or bad. So I think that's the benefit of having someone like yourself with that, cautious fiduciary approach, knowing that you're going to treat someone the way that mama would want to be treated. And that's a great feeling. So that's really good. Well, let's wrap up with this, Tom. What do you like doing for fun? I know that your firm gives back to the community. What do you do serving the community, and what do you like to do for fun on a personal level?
The community, we have an arm of our firm called Pinnacle Gives, makes charitable contributions to different organizations every month. On a quarterly basis, we shut down the office and do some charitable work, kind of like boots on the ground, different type of activities. And we've been doing that for years. And it's nice to give back. I'm very fortunate to be here in the United States and being available to help individuals succeed in life, and being able to give back is huge. So very, very grateful to be able to do something like that. On a personal level, I'm a golfer. I love to play golf on a pretty regular basis. So that's kind of my relief, my stress level. And at home, I like to cook. I'm the cook in the family. So it's again, a little stress reliever for me as well.
Awesome. Well, it's great to get to know you personally and professionally. What's the best way that someone can reach out, connect with your firm, and learn a little bit more about Pinnacle?
Yeah, probably the easiest thing is find us on the web, Pinnacle Wealth Management. We're in Denver. Our website is Pinnacle WM for wealthmanagement.com. We have a lot of great educational information on our website. We post a blog every week. We have a Facebook Live on a regular basis. We do lunch and learns. We record all of those videos. You can find it on our website. We're very big on the educational side, just helping people understand all those different financial terms that are thrown around in the marketplace, and having a resource there to help you understand some of those areas. And if listening to all of those things, you want to talk to us, obviously you can call us. You can find our phone number on the web. And also there's a link to my calendar. You can just schedule an appointment directly with me. And hey, Tom, I have some questions about this. And more than happy to do that on a pretty regular basis, just being available to add value whenever I can.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on today, Tom. It was really good getting to know you. I'll make sure that link is also in the show notes.
I appreciate it as well, sir.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.